Welcome to the Arsenal show, and it is the season preview. We've got plenty to talk about tonight. Steve, I know you're ready. I know you've been gagging to get on to this subject. We were speaking about the transfer earlier. We were speaking about the season. We were speaking about the match preview against Brentford, and you was trying to get more in. I was like, Steve, just stop. Save it for the show. Save it for the show. The debut show. None of them other ones count. The preview don't count. The exclusive don't count. This counts. The first of many, the Arsenal show. Welcome, people. Thank you for joining us on our season debut. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm really good. I'm really excited for tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it tonight. You know, get me views out tonight, the things that I'm happy with, the things that I'm not happy with. You know, there's plenty of things I'm happy with so far, but there's just as many things I'm not. So, but I'm doing it all with a smile on my face because it's the start of the season and it's a clean slate.
Yes,
and
you're going to be optimistic or
I'm going to be optimistic.
Let's start with positive. Oh, you're going to be optimistic, yeah?
I'm going to
start with optimism.
Bit of positivity, bit of optimistic.
Yes.
You know,
mindless, crazy
Arsenal show.
Optimism. That's what fans are there for.
Yeah, we're here to support the team. We're here to support the show. This is the Arsenal show. So, yeah. And then I bet you everybody out there after 2 episodes will be totally shamed in the hole.
Yeah, this 40-minute episodes will turn into a 2-hour episode of just absolute ranting.
Yeah, all the positivity's gone to negativity.
It has. I'm sure it won't be. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of good things to discuss, not only tonight, but for the rest of the season for Arsenal. As I've said, I personally think it could go one of 2 ways. It can go horribly wrong, but it could also go spectacularly right. But it remains to be seen. But let's get this show cracking. It's the season preview. Now, first of all, I want to get into the pre-season quickly. We're going to kind of gloss over it, but we've got to discuss the pre-season because it ties in. An early loss against Hibernian. Fans lost their head. A 2-2 draw against Rangers. Once again, there was murmurs underneath that the people weren't happy. A 2-1 loss against Chelsea, which probably should have actually been a 2-2 draw, considering they scored. They scored an equaliser, but it was ruled out. No VAR in this one. It was behind the line. A 1-0 loss to Tottenham, and in between that, they had I think it was a 4-1 win against Watford, and I think there was another game they had behind. Oh, they beat Millwall as well, 4-0 or 4-1 or 3-1. Any standout players that you've watched in pre-season that you think this season could be their season?
I think the main person that stood out so far this season is our new signing, Samuel Longa. I think he's looked fantastic. You know, in pre-season, he looks exciting. He looks someone who wants the ball all the time, and that's the typical Mikel Arteta player. Someone who's, you know, he looks fresh. Arsenal needs something different in that midfield. I think, you know, it might, you know, you've got Partey, you've got Xhaka. It might, you know, I'm hoping that this Longa can go on to be something, you know, a little bit special, and you know, he can play with either one of Partey or Xhaka, because I think that's maybe what we need. But yeah, he's certainly you know, taken my eye. You know, in the pre-seasons. I mean, the rest of the pre-season, I don't take much notice of it. Well, when we lose, I don't take much notice of it. When we win, I do. But but that's Arsenal fans, isn't it? You know, if we lose, we're
most of the opposite.
We're getting relegated. We've just got drew with Hibs, and oh no, we're useless. We can't even beat a Scottish team. We're going to end up being relegated this season. Sack Arteta, I see. We see all that. But I don't take a lot out of pre-season. But yeah, answer your question again, mate. Look, Samba. I thought he was Sambi. Sorry, he played very well. And Ben White. What I see of him, looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah. 50 million Ben White. Few people, not too many people disgruntled about the price tag, but it is a higher price tag. Do you think there's pressure on him? Do you think he was worth it? Are we playing over the odds for a player who's only had one season in the Premier League?
No, I think that's the asking price. I think player England international. I think if you're going to go and buy an English international, we all know the premium on England players. If you're going to want to buy a defender of Ben White's ilk, then that's what you've got to pay. So no one should be surprised that Arsenal paid 50 million. He looks like he's got a bit of everything. I think I mentioned on a couple of shows ago that I first started watching him when he was playing for Leeds in the Championship. He took my eye there, and probably more my eye there than he actually did when he was at Brighton. Yeah, I'm not. I haven't got a problem with the price tag, and I'm again like we just saying with Sambi. I'm really looking forward to seeing him tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely. So I've personally thought that, once again, I worry about the injury to Thomas Partey, but I thought that Thomas Partey was looking sharp in pre-season. I thought that Nicolas Pepe looked sharp in pre-season. I'm hoping that although Pepe, who he didn't have a bad season last season, it was kind of understated, I'd say, because of it was quite stop-start at the beginning. I seriously feel like he could do something this season, but from the start and all season. So I'm hoping he could potentially hit the ground running. Who? Oh yeah. This was the one because we was going to speak about it earlier on. Your starting lineup. You went over your starting lineup earlier on in the Brentford preview. If you haven't seen the Brentford preview, people, it's out there now. As you said, there's not really too much you could divert from what's there already because Arsenal haven't made too many signings, or in the critical positions, you would probably say. But one area of the pitch that we spoke about was integral for Arsenal's season is the front three. Who do you potentially see who starts up front for Arsenal? I know you was trying to get around. Should it be Pepe? Should it be Pepe and Saka starting with Aubameyang? Does Lacazette get a mention in that? The likes of Martinelli, who's just won a goal better with Brazil. Who's your starting front three?
My starting front three, I think Pepe's got to start. I mean, I said it last season. We've mentioned it a few times now that when Pepe's on it, he's unplayable. He can do things that no other Arsenal player on that pitch can do.
Yeah,
he does that extra special thing. He's got pace to burn. When we get a free kick outside that box, he's the only player who you really sort of sit up and think, right, he's going to bury this. He's going to bend it in the top corner. So he's got that in his game. He takes all the free kicks. You just don't know what he's going to do next. You see it last season on many occasions when he was running at players. He didn't just run and go past them. He just went one way, went another. He might have stuck it through their legs. He's just so exciting. But one thing he's got to do, like you just mentioned, is we can't have this stop-start. We had it a lot last season with Nicolas Pepe. Stop-start. He's got to play right from the off, and unless he gets an injury, then he's got to start every game. In my opinion, with him, I believe Aubameyang's got to start up front. I know he had a bad season last year by his standards, but look, listen to the words I just said. By his standards, you by normal Aubameyang standards, he's a world-class striker. I'm not going to sit here and judge him on one bad season. Every striker has a bad season. Mo Salah had a bad season. Aguero has had a bad season. They all have bad seasons. So I'm certainly not going to judge Aubameyang on that. And to play with him, I would play Saka I would play Saka on the right, Aubameyang in the middle, and Pepe on the left. And I know we've seen Aubameyang play on the left, but I think to get that, to get that fear back from defences when they play against Arsenal, I don't think you're going to get that with Lacazette, and pushing Aubameyang out wide means you're going to have to not play Pepe. And I don't want square pegs in round holes again, like we see a lot last season. So for me, it would be, I don't know about you, but it would be Pepe, Aubameyang, and Saka.
Do you feel like Pepe's settled now? Do you feel like he's matured a bit more?
Yeah, I do. I feel he's starting to, towards the end of last season. You started to see that, the confidence. When he first came, it was like you see it in a game, and then you'd see it 6 games later. You see the confidence in him, but towards the end of last season, you started to see it more in regular, in regular time space that Pepe was performing. So you could see that the confidence was growing. You could see that he was smiling a lot more when he was on the pitch, and as I say, his performances were picking up on a more regular basis. And we always used to say about the consistency. Well, he was getting that consistency towards the end of last season. So I believe that he's going to take it into this season and hit the ground running.
Yeah. So back onto Aubameyang. What do you think he's missing right now? What do you think he's not doing? You've seen him in pre-season. Is it just the goal? Is he getting into the position still? What do you think it is that he's missing the chances?
I don't think he's getting enough chances. I don't think he's getting the service. I don't think I used to play in that position, and obviously it's totally different, league and levels. But you need to be, you need to have service if you're a striker. You cannot keep expecting. You keep hearing this thing is that Aubameyang's got to come back. He's got to run back. He's got to come and get the ball. No. That's not what a striker does. A striker plays up front, and he's the man who will get onto corners. He will get onto free kicks when the balls are playing to the channels to him. He will run onto them and he will score goals. But that wasn't happening last season. It wasn't happening. There was no Pepe was, like we said, was in and out the side. So they couldn't get this partnership going together. Saka and Emil Smith Rowe wasn't really. They had their times, but not. Look, we love Emil Smith Rowe and Saka, but it wasn't consistent enough. And look, we finished 8th. That should tell you something. I think Saka and Smith Rowe will end up being great games, but I don't think Aubameyang's done nothing wrong. I think he's just had a one-off season where he wasn't getting a service, Kieron.
And you fully envisage that he could pull it off this season and get back to winning ways and become the top striker that he has been for every season since he's been here?
Absolutely. He's a world-class striker. You don't, score the amount of goals that he's scored and have one bad season, and then all of a sudden you're awful. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work like that. But as I said, he's got to have the service. And Arsenal, they changed their team just so many times last year, wasn't it? Sometimes it was Odergaard coming in, or Ceballos came in, or Saka was dropped, and then Pepe was off, and then it was moved, and then Lacazette would come in. There was no continuity about the side at all. There was no structure about the side, where in the past there has been, and Aubameyang's thrived on that. Look, I don't know about what you think, Kieron, but I think the best, if Lacazette was on it, he would be the best partner for Aubameyang. I think if they was both on it, but you ain't going to see that thing from Lacazette anymore. You know, he's, you know, if you see, we've seen times where Lacazette's been really on it and he's had fantastic games, and you think, wow, if he could do that every week, you know.
Yeah.
But he's so few and far between, and those two could. I mean, they're friends off the pitch. We've seen them like in, I think it was a couple of seasons ago. I mean, they was on fire, the pair of them. That's what you can get. That's what you can get. But Lacazette just, they both at the moment are in this, you know, this whirlwind of, you know, but I think it's a lot to do with the rest of the team. I think it's because it's the club's in a mess, and there's just no continuity about on the pitch or off it at the minute.
Yeah. Look, I agree with regards to it. That'd be a top partnership if they were clicking, but it's not.
No.
I think I've only seen one season where it has clicked consistently week in, week out. And yeah, I know that people say that they need to just be played together, but you can't watch where one player's doing it and the other player's not for 2-3 weeks on end. You can't, because there's other players in the team that want to be taking that spot, that want an opportunity in that spot. And if they don't feel they're getting the right opportunities and chances, they're not going to want to be at the club. And it's a squad game. And if you're watching Lacazette work hard but not score goals, then that's the thing that gets to me. It's like we saw a season where Lacazette and Aubameyang, I think Lacazette got a really good amount of goals. Aubameyang hit his usual 30 plus, but then Lacazette also got like 15, 20 assists. It was ridiculous. So he contributed to about 40 goals in the season. And with Aubameyang scoring 30 himself, that's a great partnership. But the following season, it didn't happen. And Lacazette didn't score. I think there was a record where he didn't score at home for about 18 games or something ridiculous like that. And you can't have a forward in your team that's doing that. And then the same thing happened the following season. He weren't bagging goals in the early part of the season. And then we had last season where he was scoring. He'd scored a couple of goals, but he just weren't playing well. And yes, at points he was working hard, but it felt like as soon as Lacazette he kind of went missing. He kind of, his head dropped. He dropped off. What's the sound? His head dropped off, and it was almost as if he didn't want the ball. Which you can't have a player in a team that he looks nervous. He looks like he doesn't want to shoot. He looks like he's not getting in the right positions because he's worried he might miss. And it does feel that with his age, it's the right time to move on. But as we know, he's not going to go anywhere. It makes sense for a player that's hit 30 that if they've got 1 year left on his deal, why unless you're going to get a bumper deal from the club you're currently at, then you wait until next season to get that deal, which you'll get double the money that you would have thought you would have got, because you're getting them on a free. So yeah. I
mean, is it an old-fashioned partner, Fitch? That's just not played in football no more. You know, the two up front.
Well, the thing is,
it seems that defences have sussed it out now, and you just don't. You know, you look at the Liverpool, you look at the Chelsea, you look at the Man City. They don't play. None of them play two up front, do they? It's always even Tottenham, and it's always like the three spread across the middle.
Yeah.
So you think like Aubameyang and Lacazette? I mean, are they getting in each other's way?
I wouldn't say it's that, because I think also with a lot of positions, they're quite fluid. Yeah, you want your back four to be quite not rigid, but you want them to be structured. But you want your front three to be quite fluid. You want your Sakas and your Pepes to mix it about, so you can drop in on the left, and it keeps defenders thinking. Maybe Aubameyang's getting to that age where he's not got it in him to do that running up the flank, and he wants to.
Do you not think he has? Do you think that's what it is?
I don't think it is that. I think he can score goals from the left. I just think that I don't know what happened last season, but you can't drop off that much if there's something not off the pitch. And it seems like with the thing with his mum, just a multitude of things that came together at the same time, that his head just weren't in the right place, because it was like he'd play on the left in a game and he'd look sharp, and then the next game he weren't up for it, or he's turning up late before a match because he's getting his hair done. Like that's someone who's not there. He's not mentally. He's not there, and it shows on the pitch.
Has he not always been like that? He's always been a bit eccentric, isn't he?
Yeah, but I've never heard of him turning up late and not starting a game because he's turned up late to get his hair done. The level of disrespect to your teammates there is and it would have taken a lot for Mikel Arteta to drop him. And that it's disrespectful for the teammates. Why are you late? I was getting my hair done. You're not starting. It's like that's a kick in the stomach, and it makes the manager look stupid because that's your captain, and that's the level of respect he's got for you and your team. So he needed to show him. Whether he can come back from it this season, I don't know. What I have seen in pre-season from Aubameyang is encouraging. Yes, he's missed chances, but you don't hit an overhead kick at the angle that he did against Rangers. Yeah, he missed and hit the crossbar, but that set up a goal. You don't do that if you're lacking confidence.
No.
You're not. You're stumbling back, taking it on your chest, trying to wrap your foot around it, and it's nowhere near, and it goes off by the corner flag. If you're confident, you believe in yourself, and you could do things like that. That's a confident player that just needs to go, I think. And I fully expect that once he does score his first goal, that'll be him back. He's got a point to prove to people. Not even himself. I fully believe he believes in himself. There's a lot of critics out there that will probably wait for Aubameyang to have a bad season, because even when he was doing it, it was when he's not scoring goals, he does nothing. But he is scoring goals, so it's a silly argument. If Jack Grealish didn't have the tricks, he'd be an average player. But he does have the tricks, so he's not an average player. So you can't say these things, if, buts, and maybes. It doesn't make sense. So because we could be here all day doing if, buts, and maybes.
Yeah. If Mark Overmars was slow,
if he had no pace, no pace. Do you know what I mean? There's stupid arguments. Usually run by kids. Like, it makes no sense.
I heard something today, and it changed my view on something, and I'm always happy for people to change my view. Always open to that. And it was about Tamiya Abrams, and I wasn't that keen on him coming, but I heard something today. When you think about it, that kid's hungry. I mean, I'm saying that because of what you just said about Aubameyang, and I just reminded me. Tamiya Abrams is hungry. Yeah, he was on fire at Chelsea. He just scored a hat trick. Thomas Tuchel came in, and the next day he was dropped, and he never played again, hardly again. Yeah, so someone like bringing Tamiya Abrams in, who's hungry, would to play with Aubameyang, then that might be different. I might be before that. Where I wasn't before, but I think it's about hunger. They've got to have they've got to go into. He's got to go into the new season hungry, haven't they? They all have.
Yeah, I like Tamiya Abrams as a player. I think when you're at Chelsea, it's a different ball game. Look, a lot of people are complete like Chelsea are getting away with murder right now because Man City are getting all the stick from every single journalist and pundit out there about how they're this, how they're that, how they're ruining football. It's absolute garbage talk. Like football was the holy saint, like the Premier League was the holy grail, the saint. Like football was ruined years ago. Chelsea started that trend. Man United were doing it beforehand. So let's not talk about Man City now, 25 years later, are ruining football. Man City are doing what everyone else done, and they're doing it because everyone else done it. So I don't want to hear none of that absolute trash talk from fans that are jealous because they can go out and spend 100 million right now, spend 100 million on Harry Kane plus if they can get him, and then go and sell 3 players for 30-40 million plus, and then not buy a player next season. You can't say that's cheating because that is financial fair play. Over 2 seasons, they would have spent 230 million, recouped about 100 million or 80 million. So their net average spend over 2 seasons is like what, 70 million. And then on top of that, they stretch the players the amount per season over a 6-year deal or 5-year deal, which you've got with Grealish, and they will spread out the payments over that. So the system's there to be played, and they are playing it. You can't dig them out for that.
We'd all take it, wouldn't we?
We'd all take it.
We'd all take it. And
so what I was going. Oh, go on.
No, go on, mate. No, fine. Go on.
So I was going back to Chelsea. Is they buy Galacticos. Like Man City are out there going buying a Ferran Torres, a Jack Grealish. And these are all nice, tidy players. Bernardo Silva, they're quality players, top draw players. But Chelsea have gone out and bought the names. They were trying to get Haaland, a Galactico. They just couldn't get Haaland, so they bought in Lukaku, a Galactico. They got Kai Havertz, who was the most sought-after attacking midfielders in world football last season. Yeah, they just sold Hazard, replaced him with another one of the most sought-after players in European football, which was Timo Werner. Yeah, didn't have a great season, but he was very sought-after. Ziyech, very well sought-after. Yeah. They are out there buying names, the name brands. They're out there buying. Yeah. So when you're a Tamiya Abrams, a homegrown player, you've only got a short amount of time to impress before they go, do you know what? We're going to cut the cord on this one. And it's very hard for Tamiya Abrams. He had a good season last season. The season before, he had a good season when they couldn't buy any players. And Tamiya Abrams was, as we know about the Golden Boy Awards. Tamiya Abrams was a nominee for a Golden Boy Award. He was in the Guardian top 60 in his breakthrough season as a youth player. Like they rarely wrong on these things. Like Tamiya Abrams is a very good player, and I think it's just because we're used to seeing him, and he's not the Galactico player that people are talking about, the fashionable player. So a lot of fans are like, I don't want Tamiya Abrams. But then again, I think there's a fair enough split. There's a fair split with Tamiya Abrams and the Arsenal supporters. So it's not as bad as what I thought it would be.
Yeah, a lot of fans just want the player who's may have the flashy haircut or the nice tattoo down the one arm. Or he might have the one earring in one ear. You know where I'm going here, people, didn't you? Or the tattoo going down the side of him, Half of them haven't got a clue what the player does. No idea. They're just the fact that he might bend the ball in the top corner every now and then, right? I think he's the next Messi, but absolute rubbish. You know, it's, and Mikel Arteta knows better than that. But just going back to the Man City thing, we all want it. Arsenal, look, we have the second most richest chairman in football, right? We have the second most richest chairman in football, right? Stan Kroenke, and he does nothing. I would give my right arm, to have these sheiks of Man City, Roman Abramovich, who's a Chelsea fan, the Leicester guy at Leicester. I would do anything to have these guys. The second richest man in football, Stan Kroenke. It is an absolute joke when you think about it.
I mean, look at what Leicester are doing. Like, you don't have to, like, because I get to a certain extent what people are talking about in Man City, but I'm not going to dig them out because it's not new, But like,
And we'd be hypocritical if we did.
Exactly. But Leicester, you could probably say they're doing it in probably the least grotesque way, as you could say, because they're going out and buying the unknown gems, the next under the radar, the next level player. This player could be the player. But what are they doing? They're going out and buying this could be the player, selling him on 3 seasons down the line, 4, 5, 6 times the amount they bought him for, and then lo and behold, bringing up another, this is the next player. And look where they are. Look where they are. Every season, they're pushing for the top 4. Before that, they were pushing for European spots. They're a team progressing, and their chairman, their owners are going in the right direction, and they're spending money. None of this nonsense. Like, we've tried the self-sustaining model of this, and that, but people are going other routes to find loopholes because that's not working. And unless you're going to really invest in your youth academy and bring those youth players through like an Ajax, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
We can't do that at the moment. Arsenal ain't in that situation. Arsenal are not in the time where people are saying, bring Martinelli in, bring Balogun in. All right? Bring him in, right? But don't moan if you're going to lose games.
Yeah.
Don't moan, right? Because if you want to go to Champions Leagues, and in 2-3 years, so if you want to challenge for the title in 2-3 years' times, you've got to buy Iscos, you've got to buy Coutinhos, you've got to buy Martinez, them type of players. You're not going to get it through Martinelli yet.
Yeah.
And I state yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Balogun, you're not going to get it yet. There's still 2-3 years down the line. Just like Smith Rowe and Saka are. You're not going to get it now.
But Saka didn't do it. Saka didn't do it. Saka didn't turn up on the scene and smash it. Saka's been there since Emery was there. And now he's consistently... But even now, there's still question marks in his game because of experience. And he will gain experience and he will gain... he will kind of get better through experience, through these moments that he had with England, through the semi-final loss against Villarreal in the Europa League. These moments will turn him into a better player. But you have to go through this. That's been 3 seasons since, and now he's getting it. Emil Smith-Rowe, in 2 seasons' time, next season he'll have a better season, touch wood, and the following season he'll be a star of the Arsenal team.
Yeah, and then you won't be laughing at me, and he'll be in your fantasy teams. But seriously, but seriously, if you got to look in reality and where you are at this moment in time. If you want to go and win the title next year, then that chairman up there, who's the second richest man in football, has got to go and give Arteta £500 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, and say, go and get me Champions League football. If he's going to do what he's doing now and give him nothing, then you've got to wait for Saka. You've got to wait for Emil Smith-Rowe. You've got to wait for Balogun. You've got to wait for Martinelli. And
do you have the patience? Do they have the patience? Do our fan base have the patience? No. Our fan base haven't got the patience to boil an egg, let alone wait for bloody Martinelli, Saka, Smith-Rowe, Longa, Ben White.
It's just understanding. It's just what us fans have got to do is understand the situation and understand the team we've got and understand what our owner is doing and where he seems to want us to go. Yeah. At this moment in time, it's not rocket science to see that our owner at this moment in time couldn't care less, to put it in the nicest words. Because if he did, he'd be doing what Roman Abramovich is doing. And and I don't want to hear that they've got, and I've already said it. I've heard it on Sky today. That's how I knew he was it made me sit back a bit. The second richest man in football, and he's not spending no money. This is how the conversation come up. I was talking to an agent on Sky, and they were saying all the other chairmen they give in, and they give it. And so we've got a chairman at the moment who's not going to do that. So Arsenal fans have got to get into a bit of reality for this season, and understand what expectations are.
Yeah.
What Arsenal fans want, they want the guy from Spotify to come in and buy him out. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Because if that happens, then he will give Arteta 500 million to go and buy the transfers. If it doesn't happen, we've just got to sit and hope.
Yeah, we do. Another player, as we're speaking about transfers, another player that could potentially be on his way to Arsenal if all powers that be can have an agreement and the player's happy to come, is Martin Odegaard. A player who joined in January last season. There was a lot of high expectations. There was a lot of promise, a lot of excitement about when he joined. And in my opinion, he had a good second half of the season. Considering he was only there for a short amount of time. Settled in well, made friends, and ended up leaving quite unhappy that he was had to leave and didn't want to go. But with the news that Arsenal could potentially be going for Martin Odegaard again, but on a permanent basis, there's been a very much of a, I don't even want to say mixed. It feels very much so that the majority of what I'm hearing is that they don't really fancy Odegaard anymore. Why is that? And why do you think there was a U-turn so quickly?
Because he hasn't got the haircut or tattoo. And I know you laugh, right? But I'm telling you that it is, to put it another way, it's their social standing. They see him a lot on the internet. They see him being flashy. They see him, doing things on Instagram. And because our Odegaard's is quite young man who goes about his business and who's Norwegian, and they're not known for being flash and they keep themselves to themselves. They don't like that. But they haven't got, people don't, Arsenal fans, we've got some really, really intelligent fans out there. And, but the ones who are dismissing Odegaard, just try and have a look at him play. We flagged that Odegaard long before he was connected with Arsenal. Jerome did a player profile of him, and we would say, oh, God, what would we do if we had this kid at Arsenal? And we got him. But yeah, why? But fans are now going against him. It's because they're all saying they want Awa and they want Maddison, and but I can't see why. I really like him, and I don't see the big fuss with Awa or Maddison personally. And
Go on,
mate. No, go on.
Do you think they were underwhelmed by what he did last season? Because he's a player that can play in the AM centre. He can also play in central midfield. And in 14 games, he scored 1 and assisted 2. Do you think they were? Yeah. Do you think they were underwhelmed by what he did?
Yeah. They want Odegaard. They wanted Odegaard to come in and score 15 goals and do 25 assists. That's what they want. That's what they want. They've heard about this superstar future Galactico that's coming for Arsenal. So all of a sudden they think, instead of looking how he plays and what he does and look.
Yeah. We lost Steve. But basically, look, he played 14 games in the Premier League last season, got 2 assists, and 1 goal. He played 6 games in the Europa League and scored 1 goal. James Maddison, on the contrary, he had he had a very good season. James Maddison. I think he racked up in all competitions. Hold on, I was just giving him James Maddison stats, Steve. I was just saying, James Maddison in all competitions, or in the Premier League, got 8 goals, 7 assists, 6 games in the Europa League, 2 goals, 2 assists. FA Cup, 4 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. So in all, 42 games, 11 goals, 10 assists. Do you think they're looking at that and making comparisons to Odegaard and thinking, well, he'd be a better number 10 than Martin Odegaard?
Yeah, probably. They're probably looking at the stats. They're probably looking at a number of things. But as we've said before in it, it's not about stats. Just because don't look. You can't keep looking at the goals and look. Some people are there to do certain jobs, and Odegaard would be there to to keep the ball going. He would be there to sort of. He is the player who is the type of guy he's the player who gets the ball before the other player gets the ball, makes the chance and scores the goal.
Mm.
If there was a stat for that, for the man who breaks up the play and lays it off to the person who then makes the assist, he would be top of the chart. Yeah. Because that's what he does, and Real Madrid wouldn't have brought him to the club if he's a terrible footballer. He's not a terrible footballer. It's the same with, I don't like keep bringing the name up because I'm fed up talking about him. But it's Granit Xhaka. Arsenal fans think he's Kevin De Bruyne. They think they want him to be Kevin De Bruyne. Right? They want him to do 25 assists a game. They want him to score 10 goals a season. When, all the intelligent Arsenal fans out there, will be thinking, no, we know what he does. He breaks up play. All this rubbish about he pushed the ball forward. He's always playing the ball forward. And that's his job. And he's a team and he's a leader and there he's parts of his game, and that's why he's in the Arsenal side every week, and that's why he's been in every side of the week. But Odegaard's got a specific job to do. Even Maddison, I think, are just different players, and I think Odegaard, I think, would fit more. I mean, look, if you went to look at Santi Cazorla's stats, you'd probably think, I'd have James Maddison. But if you asked an Arsenal fan, who do you want out of Maddison and Cazorla, you go, no, they're Cazorla all day long. But it's they got to look into the player more.
Yeah, I think that Arsenal fans set high expectations for any player that comes in unless they're a complete unknown. And as soon as they don't deliver the expectations that they've set themselves, not realistic expectations of a player who's coming in a January transfer window on loan, that's hardly played any games for Real Madrid that season. Like, no one's taking this into account. They're not taking that into account at all. They're not taking into account that James Maddison's been at Leicester for 3 seasons and all these things. And I think they were underwhelmed because they set high expectations. I think it's a player who, as you spoke about, Tamiya Abrams, he's very hungry, would come to Arsenal happy because he wants to play there. He seems like he got a good friendship with Thomas Partey. And I think it'd be a great asset for Arsenal. I think Arsenal need that kind of player that's just going to keep the ball rolling, that can work with Emil Smith-Rowe. Why can't Emil Smith-Rowe be the James Maddison that everyone's talking about? And he play with an Odegaard who can sit there and win that ball and play off. And there's no reason why these players can't play in the same team together. Odegaard can sit deeper.
I don't think he wants Smith-Rowe to play every week, Kieron.
He probably doesn't, because he's not ready there every week. He's not every week in and out. He's not the first name on the team sheet. That number 10 was given to him because it's a show of faith that we believe in the future you will fit into that shirt. You will deserve that shirt. And we don't want to give it to anyone else because that's your shirt for the future. It doesn't mean anything now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are they still going for a number 10? Because they want a number 10 that's now.
They want to,
they want to starter week in, week out. That someone's going to challenge. So that someone that Emil Smith-Rowe can challenge. Because that's the mistake Arsenal made previously. It was always we've got Saka. Why do we need Pepe? That's just an example. That was never said, but it was always we've got the youngster. We don't need the older anymore. But that's not how football teams work. It needs to be a squad. The youngster needs to look up to someone and not automatically think that that's his spot week in, week out, every week. And that's where Arsenal started to go wrong. There was no challenge for these youngsters. There was no one for these youngsters to look up to. Like, players were looking up to Cesc Fabregas when Cesc Fabregas was 22 years old.
Yeah.
And before, Cesc Fabregas had Patrick Vieira to look up to, Gilberto Silva to look up to. So it's a different ball game.
They've got nobody.
He's looking at Diaby and thinking, cool, this geezer, if he wasn't injured every week, I don't even know if I could get in the team. Like, it's a challenge. There's no challenge for these youngsters anymore.
Yeah. So if he does get fit that day, I better make sure I'm on it.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. I better make sure I'm on my top game because he can play anywhere in that midfield. So, yeah, I think too many high expectations for certain players.
Is there anywhere that worries you in that team? Is there an area that you think, that worries me there? Is there any particular?
I'd have to say
that worries you for the season ahead.
Yeah, I'd have to say
if they don't perform.
I'd have to say centre forward. Look, I've seen some of the roughest defenders go through this team. I've seen some horrible defenders play for some other teams as well. But if you've got someone who could bag goals, you've always got a get out of jail free card. That's our problem last season. We conceded 36 goals in the Premier League. That's probably the best goals conceded that we've done in years. Yet we couldn't score. We weren't scoring goals. And if we don't score goals this season, we haven't got a team that can do 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. We ain't got that team. We can't do it. There's a lot of youngsters in our team. There's a lot of young defenders in our team as well. And we're just not in a place where we need to take the pressure off those players and score goals from all over the pitch, mostly up top. Aubameyang needs to score. Lacazette needs to score. We're talking about Lacazette. Lacazette didn't have a bad season. He scored 14 goals or something like that. It's embarrassing. That's no good. That's no good. That's not good. That's a horrible stat. So our strikers need to fix up because it can't be. I mean, I'm impressed with the Pepe's goal tally. I'd like to see Saka score more goals. I'd definitely like to see Emil Smith-Rowe contribute to more goals. But for me, it's got to be Alexandre Lacazette and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang that's going to do the business.
Does Partey worry you?
No, only with his injuries. I thought he was having a good pre-season, but his injuries. But the thing is, that injury he got against Chelsea. I'm sorry, that's a pen. In the pre-season, no VAR. That's a pen. It shows it was a pen. The geezer's tackled him from behind. He's crunched his ankle and he's done his ankle ligaments. Yeah. That was a naughty challenge that he got away with.
Yeah, it was.
Clipped him with his studs and it was a naughty challenge. I hope that the previous injuries, which they seemed like they were kind of bedded in injuries. The kind of injuries you get where you haven't played in a while. And you come back and pulled here, pulled there. You recovered from that, but because you've been out again, it's pulled here again, pulled there again. So I'm hoping he got away with that. And this was more of an impact injury. It doesn't worry me with regards to the way he's playing. I've been encouraged by what I've seen, but it's the thing that would worry me, if anything, is the injuries.
Yeah. It's just what worries me. Look, I ain't got no doubts about of his ability because I've seen what he's done in for Atletico Madrid. We had a chat when Jerome was here, and we both agreed that this ain't the Thomas Partey from Madrid, and it's not, and that worries me. And the only thing, and that believe, just because he does seem a bit slow with the Premiership. Now, what I pray is that he just gets up to Premiership pace, and I think this is why he may be getting a lot of injuries, because he's still not used to the Premiership, the pace of the Premiership. I think he's hitting hard. I think he hit him very hard in the game against Tottenham. where he got caught twice on the ball, but I hope. I'm worried that he has that this is one of them, with the players where you think, oh, this just isn't the league for you, and then they'll go back and play in Spain again, and they'll turn into world class players again. I want to see the party from Madrid, and I ain't seen it. I ain't seen it yet. But I can't say I've seen him that often in the pre-seasons. But now we ain't going to see him for a while.
Yeah, he's out till the end of the month.
He worries. I don't want another Torreira,
Yeah, I didn't know too much about Torreira from when he was in Italy, but I saw him when I did finally see Torreira. You know what? I didn't have anything against him, but I did think for myself. I thought this guy's not an Arsenal player.
No,
that's the first thing I thought. I thought he's not an Arsenal player. He's very energetic, very tenacious. But when do Arsenal buy centre midfielders that their main attributes are tenacity and energy? Like, they don't. Arsenal, that's like having energy is a base level. That Arsenal have classy midfielders who can pass the ball, get up the pitch as well. They can tackle. And this guy wasn't it. And when it came to certain games, he wasn't the guy, because he's not Kante. It's very hard to find another Kante, and I don't think you can go around buying. It sounds horrible. Second-rate Kantes, because you're missing. Like, Kante's a very good pass. He's beautiful to watch moving around the pitch. He has everything, but he has that as well. He has that engine. He can tackle, and he's just relentless. So there's no one else out like that. So, and I think we was looking for a Kante, because we didn't buy him previously. What I want to get onto now is season predictions, Steve. How do you think Arsenal are going to do? Where do you think they're going to finish?
Well, I'm wiping out Champions League football straight away. We're just not good enough. Not good enough, and I just don't think we're even good enough to challenge for champions, unless something happens in the next couple of weeks or the next, But I can only go by what we've got and what I'm seeing in front of me now, and I still think we're a long way off, mate. I still think we're a long way off from even challenging for Champions League. Nowhere near Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Manchester United. Just not even in the same ballpark. And then you look at the Europa League, and you look at teams like Leicester. I don't think we're as good as Leicester. I think I've done a prediction where I said they'd finish 5th, Leicester. And then you've got a bunch of teams who could fall into that 7th place. You've got teams like Everton, you've got Wolves, West Ham, Tottenham, Arsenal, and it's like
Villa.
Villa. I mean, look at Villa. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to change my prediction from what I said in the prediction show, because I always stick with it, even though I'm in that. Even in my head now, I wish I want to change my prediction. We can't. We can't finish out of Europe again. We can't.
Arsenal can't afford to.
Even if it's something, even if it's in the Europa Conference League, even if it's that. So I'm going to say we're going to finish 7th.
Okay, 7th league position finish.
Where have we fallen?
According to Steve. Wow, 7th.
I've never gone that low before. ever. I might change it in a couple of weeks' time because we might have bought a couple of class players.
7th, Steve.
I can't. Oh God, coming up. Oh, that's awful. Saw prediction 7th. I'm going to screenshot that.
7th. Wow. All right.
That's damning. That is, looking at that.
It is. I'm with you. Arsenal can't finish outside of the top 4. They can't afford to. Financially, and I think if they're going that way, a new manager's coming in. I think that if Arsenal start to slip into a bad place where they're looking like they're just dwindling, can't string a win, the morale in the team's going, I think that Mikel Arteta goes. I don't think they're gonna bide their time this year. I think it can go one of 2 ways. I don't think there's any middle ground. I think it's either going to fall flat on its face or we're going to have a very good season. I'm not saying we're going to get top 4, but I think with the current squad we've got now, I think a good season for Arsenal with the team they've got now. Maybe if they bring in Odergaard, 5th, and I'd say that was a good season for Arsenal because I don't think our team is any better than anyone in that top 4. As I said multiple times, I'm getting bored of saying it. Top 4 is not you go for the top 4. You don't go for top 4 anymore. You go to win the league. Every single one of them teams in that top 4 is a league contending team. Chelsea just won the Champions League. They're a league contending team. Liverpool, regarded as one of the greatest teams to win the Premier League. Man United have just bought Jadon Sancho. They're going for the Premier League, and Man City just won it. They're not. None of them teams are going for top 4. They're going to win the league, and Arsenal aren't going to win the league, so they're not in that conversation yet. Liverpool are the team that could potentially drop out, but I don't think Arsenal are good enough to take that spot either. I think if any of them, it's Leicester, and they've made positive signings so far. Patterson, Daka. They've brought in Sumari as well, and I'm sure they will continue to bring in players. They're going to keep the likes of James Maddison, it looks like. So I just don't see us challenging for that top 4 spot. But I think we could, if we have a good season, we could get 5th. And if we have a bad season, I think we get a new manager, and I still think we're getting to the Europa League because I don't think our owners will settle for anything less. If I'm honest, I don't think they can have. I think they will use Arteta as a scapegoat if we do have a poor season, or if we do have a poor start. And I think they bring in someone. Who? I don't know. I ain't got a clue with it. Bring in to save the day.
Would you sack him?
What now?
No, at the end of the season, if we have a bad season, if we have what in your eyes is a bad season?
If we finish 8th again, it's a bad season. So
would you sack him if we finish 8th?
Am I the owner?
Yeah.
I've put in more money. I've bought more players. If I'm the owner, I'm not settling for this team.
No,
I'm not settling for what we've currently bought. Like, I'm bringing in Odegaard, and I'm having a word with Lacazette and saying it's time to go. You need to move on. If I can't get rid of him, I don't know, but it all depends. It all depends. I need to see encouraging signs. I'm not about sacking managers if there's progression, if the club's moving forward. If Mikel Arteta and Arsenal have a season they did in the second half of the season, we'd have a good season because we were very consistent. And I think what people are dismissing is the likes of Odegaard was a part of that consistency.
Yeah.
Like, people don't take that into account when you look at the stats of the second half of the season. We finished second in the league. Like, we had an excellent second half of the season. But you don't win. You don't get anywhere for having one good half of a season. You've got to have a good full season. That's what Arsenal needs to have. Eighth will be a poor season for Arsenal. You'll be out of Europa League. You have to get Europe. What is that? You have to get Europe. Otherwise, it will be an absolute disaster in my eyes. Seventh. If Arsenal get into Europe in 7th spot, and I see progression on the pitch, I'm not sacking Arteta. If you're saying that they're going to come 7th, so look, I don't want to sack Arteta. I want Arsenal to have a good season. I see a lot of good things about what Arteta's doing. I have a lot of faith in the man. So yeah. I'm hoping that he's the guy that takes us forward, because I'm hearing a lot of good things from a lot of the players. So yeah, that's all I've got to say on it. But the time is up. Our time is done. Very enjoyable show. Got a lot off our chest. Hopefully, it started very positive, ended up as a rant about the owner once again. Steve, I know you've got a lot off your chest. Looking forward to tomorrow's game. As I said, we've got the pre-match preview. Big game. Arsenal need that win because they've got a tough start for the start of the season. If they don't get the 3 points in tomorrow's game. Thank you for joining us, Steve. And peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.